Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Shawn Mackey Show. He's so unpredictable. Mother Nature calls him for advice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 2, Episode number 20, the Big 20 for this season of the Shawn Mackey Show. Bears vs. Packers 2. Okay, that was a dramatic pause because I feel like this entire show should have just been the introduction and then silence for 30 minutes because I am almost speechless with what took place yesterday evening. Oh my God. This game starts out with plenty of excitement. The Packers go down and drive, and they're driving, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And then the Bears force a turnover on downs. They stop the Packers, take over deep, deep, deep in their own territory. I think it was the 2 or 3 yard line. And then they go on a drive of their own. And they get to fourth and I think it was 4th and 4 maybe, and the trickery. Now, this is a couple of times this season we've seen the trickery backfire on Ben Johnson. One of these games that we've talked about, that I've talked about over the course of this season, I know there was one of those games where every single little trick play that the Bears tried to do, the opposing team's defense had an answer for it. And I want to say it was the Packers' first game against the Bears. But we saw that trickery get too cute last night. High snap over Monangai's head. Packers take over on downs. Next thing you know, the Packs up 6-0, a couple of field goals, and the Bears can't seem to do anything offensively for almost the entire freaking game. Now, I was posting yesterday, defense for the Bears almost all game did not look like it was just so the entire offense, the entire defense, every aspect of that game for the better part of 3.5 freaking quarters was so inconsistent. It was just bad. It was terrible. I was chatting with friends on Facebook while I was making my posts, and we were all just like, this is brutal. I even got to the point where I told my wife, I said, that's Ben Johnson running his mouth about beating Matt LaFleur twice a year, and this is what's going to end up happening. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. I sat there and watched. I'm a diehard fan. I stick with this team year in and year out. If they move to Indiana, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's a different story. We'll figure that out when it happens. But I still have those feels. I still get upset. I still get passionate. What is going on for 3.5 quarters of this team? And it's not something that is sustainable for the Bears. So to me, most of the game plan looked like they said to themselves, the Packers are the 8th. I think they're ranked 8th in run defense, and the Bears are like ranked 2nd to Buffalo. And oddly enough, the Bears actually have more yards on this season than Buffalo does rushing. But as of right now, they have one more game. But Buffalo's run yards per game is slightly better than the Bears. And so is their run average. But it didn't look like they were using that run to set up anything specific until the very end of the game. Yes, there was some play action passes in there. We still saw Caleb Williams missing on some throws he shouldn't have missed on. That's all I can say. Some struggles with the pressure up front from Green Bay. I know he took a intentional grounding call. Got frustrated. That was after a kill, too. We heard kill, and he changed the play, and then all of a sudden it just deteriorates instantly, and he's just winging the ball out there while he's still in the pocket. Intentional grounding. But the fucking dude is clutch. We've seen that now. He now ties a record with Peyton Manning for the most fourth quarter comebacks in a season by a player under the age of 25 in NFL history, with number 6. And I mentioned on last week's podcast, I know there's a post floating out there on Facebook with a little short clip about how are we judging franchise quarterbacks and legends in the NFL. For years, I've heard of those kind of statistics where this dude has this many comeback wins and this clutch in the fourth quarter. And we saw it with Aaron Rodgers. We've seen it with a lot of quarterbacks. Anytime, every fucking game over the last couple of years, is whether Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, anytime you take the lead on these guys and you give them more than one fucking minute, sometimes they don't even need a damn minute. They're going to go down and snatch that victory away from you. And we've seen that. And now we've got Caleb Williams, 6 comeback victories. The dude is clutch in the fourth quarter. He doesn't get rattled. Yeah, we saw some emotion there after that botched kill on the intentional grounding. He's with the fucking fist jabs and like, what the fucks, and the son of a bitches, and that's great. That's emotional. But what are we looking for in a guy? I mean, a buddy texted me last night and said, looks like your quarterback has finally arrived. And I told someone in one of my posts, is like, I hadn't been really sold on the guy yet, but I'll tell you what, right now, this point in year 2, I'm more sold on Caleb Williams than I had been on Justin Fields. And you know what? I look at Mitch Trubisky's stats, and maybe we didn't give that dude a fair shake, but in all honesty, no one else has signed him as a starter. So there's something to that fact too. And that just pisses me off in and of itself, because that was the same draft where you took Trubisky over Mahomes. We don't know if Mahomes would have had the same success in Chicago as he did in Kansas City, but we'll never know, right? So I'm kind of really getting there. I'm getting into it now with Caleb Williams. He ends the game 19 for 34, still kind of missing. Well, not necessarily half. He was kind of averaging missing half of his throws the last couple of games. But 19 of 34, 250 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, no sacks. He had a 98.9 rating. The Bears did manage to squeak out about 150, 158, 138. Yeah, 150 rushing yards. DeAndre Swift, 13 carries with 58 yards. But that's the thing. They were running and running. I know, I cracked myself up, guys. But they weren't really getting anywhere. We kept waiting for that big, 17, 18, 24-yard run. And it wasn't coming. I was hoping it was going to come late in the game there, but they were, and when the play action was out there, we saw some good things. Ja'Day Walker, all of a sudden, at some point I'm out there, he gets his first reception. He has 2 receptions. And the first one, really nice reception, first down, I think. And he's running up the field. I'm like, who the fuck's number 20? What the fuck? And I didn't hear Tom Brady or Burkhardt or anybody say who it was. And I was just like, whatever, and I didn't bother looking it up. And then we get to later in the game, fourth quarter, what the hell, after the onside kick. And then all of a sudden, Caleb Williams, he's like floating this ball up. I'm like, who the hell does he throw? Oh, here comes a dude. That's number 20. And did he have his feet in bounds? I'm like, oh shit, we need to see the replay. And sure enough, he catches the ball with the 1 foot down. And you see the little adjustment before he even goes up. He makes a little adjustment before going up for that ball. So he knows he catches it with 1 foot down, boom, taps the other toe, tucks it, controls it, gets up, and he does that. And I love that dance. I'm a fat guy. I would love to be able to know how to do that, but I'd probably break an ankle or something. But I love that. He looks like he's floating. Ja'Day Walker, 2 catches, 21 yards, averages 10.5 yards a catch. He has a TD, the longest 15 yards. DJ Moore! Holy shit, this is the guy, right? Why do you have to wait to go to DJ and utilize him in a game only when Odunze and Burden III are out? DJ's been your guy. He is a catalyst. He came over to this team in the first round of fucking trading that Ryan Poles did that got this team to where they are now. Yes, I've been critical of Ryan Poles, and I will still continue to be, because defensively we saw that, and we've seen it in the last couple of weeks when guys are going down. Some of the backups are stepping up and some of them are not. So I still think right now Ryan Poles has got the shit right with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, that trade, Kyle Monangai, a fucking steal in the draft in the 7th round, right? Some of the moves that he's made, I was very curious of why you went with Colston Loveland in the draft. He's a mirror of Cole Kmet, but it's fucking working out beautifully for the Bears, and I love it. And speaking of Loveland, he had 3 catches for 30 yards with his longest, and he was targeted 4 times. That tells me. And DJ, getting back to DJ, target 7 times, 5 receptions, 97 yards, and the most beautiful touchdown that I have ever witnessed in my life. That's when they're running the ball. They get into, and I'm thinking, hey, if you're an honest Bears fan, you got to say that you were probably thinking once the Packers fumbled that 4th down snap and the Bears took over, you were thinking all they need to do is get into field goal position. They're going to play it safe. Cairo Santos has already made his kicks for the game. In fact, I think I saw a video where he got a game ball. He was 3 for 3 in that crazy-ass wind for the Bears. All you got to do is get it down. If he misses it, it's still tied. You're still playing. Yes, you give the Packers the ball. You got to put it on the defense's shoulders once again, right? But then the fucking play, couple of runs, bing, Kyle Monangai picked up about 8 or 9, I believe, and close to a first down, or picked up a first down, and then the play action, the fake to the handoff, and Caleb's rolls out. And next thing you know, he just plants that foot and boom, unleashes like a 55-yard throw, travel in the air 55 yards. DJ Moore is getting completely manhandled in the end zone. Dude has both arms draped around DJ Moore's shoulders. One of the hands is tilting DJ Moore's helmet, blocking his vision. DJ Moore is just up there like feels the ball, boom, tucks it, holds it, rolls over, and then lets it go, baby. Celebrate. Got yelled at by the wife because I said, fuck yeah, Bears win. Louder than that. And you're done. One of my daughters had gone to sleep, but, come find out this morning she was watching the game there a little bit, and people were texting her, you watching the game? So she was up. I knew she'd be up. She knows what goes on in this house. Holy shit, Bears 11-4, tops in the NFC Central, taking it over. Got to wait to see what happens between the Steelers and the Lions tonight or this afternoon. The weekend before Christmas. Once again, here at the Shawn Mackey Show, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. All right. That wild, just let's look at this. The final 2 minutes of the game and the overtime. Let's revisit what the Chicago Bears accomplished. The Bears kick the field goal to make it 16-9. They recover an onside kick. They throw a 4th down touchdown to Ja'Day Walker. Bears convert the extra point. They tie it 16-6. Bears sack Malik Willis to force overtime. Packers get the ball to start overtime. Packers fumble. Bears take over on the recovery. And then a 46-yard TD to win the game. Oh, holy crap. That was like, I don't know. I know at one point I said to the wife, I think I'm having a heart attack. I was lying on the couch watching the game. I had to sit up, had to control myself, had to kind of control my breathing, and kind of get that out there because I really thought I was going to have a heart attack. I hate these close games with my favorite teams. That heart gets to fluttering a little bit more. And I don't know why. I'm not playing in them. If I was playing in them, I wouldn't feel that way. I'm just watching them. And that's how I'm feeling. Holy shitballs, Batman. What a game. Packers, Bears. Bears over the Packers, 22-16. My champs for the game, Jahdae Walker with that fourth quarter touchdown to tie the game. And that little dance move, you got to love it. Boom, boom. DJ Moore is one of my champs. Like I said, 5 receptions, 97 yards, and the most beautiful touchdown I've seen. There's my little Christmas spirit, my little tie into Christmas. Caleb Williams, clutch, Mr. Clutch, 250 yards. A lot of that coming in the fourth quarter. Gotta love it. Nashawn Wright, at some point, I believe Wright strips the ball. Don't know. Yeah, it was, because on that fourth down when they fumbled at the end of the game, it was recovered by Green Bay, and they were stopped short of the first down, and Green Bay did lose a fumble, and I believe that was pulled out by Nashawn Wright. So that's 31 takeaways. The Bears still leading the league in takeaways. That's number 31, Nashawn Wright. That he's got between his interceptions and his strip fumbles and fumbles recovery. Nashawn Wright is getting a champs for this week. Chumps. Offense and defense, why struggle? Why wait so long to kick it into gear? You had some opportunities there. Defensively, I don't know, that soft zone was killing the Bears. Even when Malik Willis got in the game, they were just picking him apart. It's one of those things that you practice. And I had somebody on one of my posts on Facebook say, like, yeah, I don't fault the Bears that they're struggling defensively. They've had no preparation for Malik Willis. And I'm going to tell you what, if you're a professional football team and you know that the backup quarterback has a slightly different skill set than the starter, meaning the backup can scramble and run a lot better, and that's kind of how he's made, you should take 1 hour every day and have found somebody on your team that can mimic a Malik Willis, and you should have prepared and practiced for that, Dennis Allen, and you should have had a contingency plan in place. It might have been minor, but all I heard on that broadcast from TB and KB was how they didn't prepare. They weren't going to prepare. There was no preparation whatsoever for Malik Willis. I get it. You want to say we're preparing for their starter. There's no indication to say he's going to get hurt and get out of the game. And yes, he leaves the game with a concussion. And a lot of people, especially Packer fans, want to say that it was dirty and brutal. But you know what? At the point of attack in real time, when Austin Booker made his move to go in and make that tackle, Jordan Love was standing straight up. And it looks like Booker would have hit him with his shoulder into the chest of Jordan Love with his head on the side. Well, then Jordan Love decides to dip his head and put his head down a little bit. And now at that point, and that's the problem with that kind of call. Yeah, you got to make that call. The NFL has to protect the quarterback. You got to call that the roughing the passer call. But it's something that should be looked at. Because if quarterbacks and running backs are allowed to lower their heads at the point of attack, and it throws off the trajectory of the defending player, and there happens to be helmet-to-helmet contact, I don't understand why it's not looked at and they say, hey, you know what? That's on the offensive guy. We're not going to call that. But they're kind of calling that all the time. Yes, protect these guys to no end. The concussion thing is no joke. I've said this before on my show that I believe I've suffered enough of them I do worry about what's going to happen in the future with CTE and things of that nature. Okay. So I get all that, but it wasn't dirty. I don't think Austin Booker was looking to play dirty. Yes, he had 2 roughing the passer penalties. The first one, maybe, because it did look like he did one of those wrestling moves where he kind of picked the dude up and slammed him down instead of just rolling over with him. But Dennis Allen should have prepared for Malik Willis, even just slightly, to have a contingency plan in place just in case what happened had happened. And Malik Willis was looking like a damn good quarterback up until the point of that last fumbled snap. You know? So good adjustments being made. But I'm going to say Chumps was that defense. Chumps was the Bears' 3 quarters worth of offense. After the first drive, it just didn't seem like they could get anything done. You know, it would have been better, I felt like, if it would have been an exchange of field goals, you know, 3-0, then 3-3, 6-3, then 6-6, like that. But the Bears, they were held. I mean, I think they entered the fourth quarter and it was 6-3. Yeah, no, it was 13-3 going into the fourth quarter. And then at some point in the fourth quarter, it was 16-3. So, you know, that's the part of this Bears offense that's not sustainable. You're not going to ride through the playoffs and a potential Super Bowl by playing for only 7 minutes of a game. No, you play the whole game, but you got to come out from the beginning and set a tone. And you've got to be driving the ball and moving the ball. And God, you got to, holy shit, you got to have everything clicking from beginning to end. You can't keep waiting until the end and keep waiting for these miracles. Maybe they can. Maybe that's how fucking Ben Johnson prepares them. I don't know. But you're sitting at 11-4. You're the tops of the NFC. See what happens between the Steelers and the Lions this afternoon, and we'll take it from there. But that's all I got for champs and for chumps for this week. Not a lot. It was one hell of a game. I guess in retrospect, when you look back on it, it was a tight game. You know, it's not like the Packers dominated the Bears. It's more like the Bears just couldn't get anything going, and the Packers had just enough and then tried to maintain it, to which they failed miserably at. And that was good for us, for the Chicago Bears and the Bears fans, with a 22-16 victory over the Green Bay Packers. Split the season 1-1 with them. And you know what? We damn well know they could have won that first game, and that would have been a nice 2-game sweep on the season, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to say that's all the time I got for this episode. I did want to, I mean, I know that I had done a couple of episodes with forgotten NFL legends, and I love that, just giving you guys, you know, some insight onto some guys that were great players in the NFL. And then over the course of the week, doing all the stuff that I do in preparation for this, it dawned on me, and I was like, you know, I know they've put out a couple of lists on the top 100 greatest Chicago Bears players of all time. So I want to end this episode by letting you know that for the remaining 5 episodes of this season, again, we may do double duty on a game depending on how the calendar plays out, so that I get these next 5 episodes in time to like finish with the Super Bowl, whether the Bears are in it or not. So then I can have that couple of weeks between the Super Bowl and when pitchers and catchers report, so I can focus everything on the Chicago Cubs season for season 3. So for these next 5 episodes, We're going to dive in briefly. We're not certain yet. Like, I don't think there's top 100 greatest Chicago Bears. I mean, I'm not going to get all 100 in 5 episodes. I may, because I may just decide to kind of like provide you with the list from the different sources and then give my take on the ones that I can. Or I may just showcase them and call it like Forgotten Chicago Bear Legends. And then do a couple, maybe I'll focus on 2 to end out each episode for the next 5 episodes. So maybe we get through about 10 of them. And maybe I decide to pick and look at that list and make my top 10 based on information from those different lists. I think that's what we're going to end up doing. We're going to go with the Shawn Mackey Show's top 10 Chicago Bears players. And we're going to do it from that list based on what we've witnessed and seen. So we're going to probably eliminate some of those dudes that, played back when the Bears were first founded or in the George Halas era, So we're going to go with our top 10. And these are, since we've been a Bears fan, watching the Bears play in the NFL. All right. So that's all the time I got, folks. That's this week's episode number 20, Packers vs. Bears. The Shawn Mackey Show wants to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a joyous and safe holiday season. Peace. I'm out. Hey, if I made you laugh, made you think, or even made you smile, please tell all your friends. If I didn't, just keep that shit to yourself. Thanks for listening to The Shawn Mackey Show.